Hey everybody, and welcome to this video where I'm going to discuss 3 common mistakes that people are doing that's causing them to keep the weight on or gain weight. These are things that I did. These are things that my clients do and have done in the past that we had to correct. And so if I did this, if a lot of my clients are doing this, chances are you might be doing this as well. So I want to cover the 3 mistakes I'm seeing between everyone I talk to and even including myself when I was overweight. And so these are things that we can discuss to correct to get us where we want to go, because in order for us to get to where we want to go, we must understand where we currently are. And so in order for us to get to our ideal weight, we must know what are we doing wrong that's preventing this and how we can correct this. And so the very first thing is that I see in a lot of my clients and even myself, when I was overweight, I wasn't eating enough. And so when you don't eat enough, your body holds on to extra stored fat and it doesn't want to let it go, because if you're not eating enough, your body doesn't know when its next meal is going to come, especially if you're eating at erratic times of the day. If you're not eating at the same time every day, if you're not eating enough, your body's going to hold on to extra stored fat just for survival reasons, because it doesn't know when it's going to eat next. So if you eat more, your body is going to let go of more fat just because it knows it's going to get replenished with nutrients. The next thing is you're not eating at the correct times, meaning you're not eating during the day, you're skipping breakfast, you're eating light lunches, and you're eating big old dinners at night. And so that's going to help make you gain weight, especially if you're eating right before bed. And then also eating imbalanced meals, meaning you're not getting enough protein, you're eating high carb meals. Carbs are fine, fats are fine, but a lot of people are just not getting enough protein. But I'm going to go into this one by one, just to kind of illustrate to you exactly what this means. And so let's just take a look at this really quickly. And let's just say that this is a time chart of your day. Let's just say 6 a.m., 9 a.m., there's noon, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and then 9 p.m. And let's just say, to marker this down, light meals, medium meals, heavy meals, and overeating. So what a lot of people are doing during the day, and this is what I did, this is what a lot of people I talk to, my clients do, is that they skip breakfast, then they have little light lunches, and then they kind of have some snacks throughout the day until they get home, and then they get home and then have a big old meal for dinner because they're famished, they're starving, and they just eat whatever they can find once they get home. So their whole current day kind of goes like this: nothing, light lunches, a little bit of snacks, and then a big old meal, and then they go to bed. So I know a lot of people don't like to count calories, and I'm not, in this course we don't count calories, but if you were to add this up between your light lunches and your big dinner, this whole day of eating is around 600 calories. 600 calories. So you could be eating twice as much if you ate properly and lost weight. So here's what you could be doing to lose weight: is actually eating a nice medium-sized breakfast, a bigger lunch, another meal at 3, and then at 6 o'clock and at 9 o'clock, then you can have your lighter meals. And the reason we do this is because at noon is when your metabolism is at its highest during the day. At night, after 4 o'clock, that's when your metabolism starts to slow down. And so when a lot of people are eating light lunches during the day, and then next to nothing for breakfast, and then a few snacks throughout the day, then they come home, they eat their biggest meal of the day when your metabolism is at its slowest, right here. And your metabolism only slows down more and more throughout the day. And once you go to sleep, your metabolism slows down even more. So if you're eating a big meal before you go to bed, this whole process is making you gain weight. Everything you're doing, from not eating throughout the day to eating a big meal right before you go to bed, this whole pattern, the entire day, is causing you to gain weight. When instead, you could be eating medium to big size breakfasts, bigger lunches, another big meal at 3, and then you have another small meal at 6 and another small meal at 9. throughout the day. And that's what I do, and that's what I did to lose weight. But this is the exact opposite of what people are mostly doing. So like on this plan, skipping breakfast, or if you have something small for breakfast, it could be like a granola bar, or if you're putting, if you're doing the keto thing where you're putting a scoop of coconut oil or butter in your coffee and you get a few calories here, and then you're doing intermittent fasting and you're skipping lunch and then you're having one big meal at the end of the day. This whole day is like 600 to 700 calories at best. Not even that much. But if you're eating all throughout the day, on this plan, you could be having 1,400 calories and losing weight. So you could be literally losing weight by eating twice as much. And so for whatever it takes for you to start getting breakfast into your system, I know a lot of people wake up in the morning, they're in a rush for work, they sleep in, they hit the snooze button until the very last minute, and then they kind of like scurry on, put clothes on, into the car, go to work and try to get to work on time. All that is what I used to do, and this is what I did, and I gained weight, and a lot of my clients have the same pattern right here. But if you actually, even if you have to prep all your meals at night and have yourself a breakfast ready to go, so that way you can just wake up, get dressed, put your breakfast into the microwave, heat it up, and take your breakfast, lunch, and even your third meal let's just say you're working all day long until from like 9 to 5 or whatever it might be. I worked from like 7 till 4 or whatever at the time. But I'm just saying, like, if you need to wake up and take 3 meals with you, your breakfast, lunch, and your third meal of the day, because we'll be eating 5 meals a day, you're eating a meal right here, and right here. You take your 3 meals with you at work if you need to, whatever it takes, even if you have to prep your food the night before, so that way you have food throughout the day. That's some things that you might have to do in order to lose weight. You're going to be eating more and losing weight. And not to mention you're going to have energy throughout the day to do your job, and even have, if you want to go to the gym at night when you go off work at 4 or 5 or 6, whatever it is, you now have plenty of energy because you've been eating all day long, and now you can go to the gym and lift weights or do whatever you want to do. Whereas if you're on this plan eating next to nothing, of course you have no energy to go to the gym. Of course you have no energy to exercise, and you feel like crap. And you come home, you eat a big meal, you spike your insulin, and then you crash and you go to bed. And then again, like I said, your metabolism slows down even more when you're sleeping. So if you go to bed 2 hours after you have to go to bed and have at least 2 hours in between your last meal and the time you go to sleep. That's the best time to go to bed, to make sure your stomach is actually empty, and that way you don't go to bed on a full stomach. So in some lifestyle tips I teach you later on, I teach you, like after your last meal, go for a walk, even if it's for 20 minutes or whatever you need to do, just to get your metabolism going just a little bit more, to get the food out of your stomach if you need to. So I'm just saying, there's little lifestyle tips that you can hack into to make sure your body burns fat all day long. But not eating enough, this is what a lot of people are doing. Just skipping breakfast, light lunches, and then just having a big old dinner at the end of the day. And so, but again, not eating enough, if you're only getting 600 calories a day, 700 calories a day, your body is going to hold on to extra fat because it doesn't know when it's going to get fed next. And it's going to hold on to that extra calories, extra fat, just to make sure that your body can survive, because it doesn't know when you're going to be eating next. And so this kind of goes into the eating at the wrong times. Eating late at night when your metabolism at its slowest, that's one of the worst things you can do. Have your biggest meal at noon is honestly going to be the ideal thing to do. So between 9 a.m. and basically until the sun goes down, this is when your metabolism is at its highest. And so have your biggest meals at noon if you can, noon to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. But even still, you can have a big breakfast, bigger lunches, and even have another meal at 3 o'clock, which kind of goes to the other topic I'm going to talk about in the lifestyle tips. But like, you should not go more than 4 hours without eating a meal. So like keep all your meals between 2 and 4 hour windows. So you need at least 2 hours in between each meal to have your next meal, because it takes 2 hours for your stomach to process whatever you've just eaten, for it to empty out and go into your digestive tract, your intestines, etc. But if you eat before 2 hours in between meals, that means the whole digestion process has to start all over again. And then the previous meal doesn't get eliminated until your next meal gets eliminated 2 hours later. So that's a little more technical that I want to get into this topic. But just for now, eating at the wrong times and eating at the right times, if you can eat between 2 and 4 hours in between meals, so that way you have at least 2 hours, so that way your stomach can empty itself, then you can have another meal. But when you go beyond 4 hours, then your body starts going into another fasting mode. And then we want to keep your energy levels steady all day long. You want to keep your metabolism all day long, and you want to keep your insulin levels steady all day long. So getting on a routine makes you into a fat burning machine. If you eat at 9 o'clock, noon, 3, 6, and 9, that's like, what I did, and that's how I structured my diet. So that way I knew every day at 9, noon, 3, 6, and again at 9 o'clock at night, I'm eating. And my body got on that routine to where every day when I woke up at 9, like if I woke up at 7 or 8, I got hungry at 9. And then I got hungry at noon, and then I got hungry at 3, then I got hungry at 6, then I got hungry at 9. So like, once you get on a routine, your body just comes into this engine that expects food at certain times, and it starts to work properly. And that's what it takes. It's like getting onto a routine and getting onto a rhythm where like every day it's like 4 on the floor. You're constantly moving and losing weight, and your body is now on a routine to where like it knows it's going to get food at 9, at noon, at 3, at 6, and again later on at night, where your body knows it's going to get fed regularly, your metabolism is burning regularly, your insulin levels are regular, and everything is steady all day long, instead of skipping everything and then spiking your insulin and everything all at once, and then your body isn't even prepared, and this whole situation right here is causing you to gain weight. So I'll discuss how we can create meal plans throughout the day that are steady, because what I also do is in my first 3 meals of the day, my breakfast, my lunch, and my third meal, all have carbs in them. And then my last 2 meals of the day have less or no carbs. So between the 5 meals I'm eating throughout the day and you can eat throughout the day, the first 3 meals have carbs. The last 2 meals are low carb or no carb meal plans. So such as yogurt, or even I like to have fried eggs before I go to bed. But like my breakfast usually has toast with peanut butter and jelly, and then like my lunch might have rice or like even potatoes, or even same thing for meal number 3. So this whole day of eating, you can eat more throughout the day and then have smaller meals at night, so you can still not be hungry when you go to bed, and lose weight. And look, I'm saying like you don't have to count your calories, but if you were, you would know you're not eating enough. You could literally eat twice as much and eat throughout the day and have more energy than feeling like crap, eating next to nothing, eating big meals before you go to bed, and gaining weight. So like you can literally eat twice as much, have more energy, be in a good mood throughout the day by eating carbs and proteins and fats, and I'll show you how to do that in the next videos on creating the diet plan for your ideal weight. But this whole scenario needs to be flipped backwards. And not only that, when you're eating throughout the day, this gives you time to burn off these calories before you go to bed. So that way you don't go to bed on an empty, you're going to bed with less food in your stomach, which is good for you, but you're also going to have more energy throughout the day to be in a good mood, get your things done, and avoid energy crashes and headaches and all kinds of crap. And so like eating more is actually the key to helping you lose weight, be in a good mood, and have more energy and get your stuff done. And so not eating enough, we just covered that. Eat more, you can lose weight. Eating at the wrong times, avoid late night meals. And even still, like I said, like I've mentioned like before, like if you go off the tracks, there might be times where yes, you might have a big meal at night, you go out to dinner or whatever, it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and you have a steak or whatever, you might gain a pound the next day because you ate a big meal from the night before and it's still in your system. But had you had your bigger lunch, a bigger meal at lunch, your body has time to digest it and get rid of it, and now you're a pound less. So eating big throughout the day when your metabolism is the highest is going to do you wonders, and eating smaller meals as the night continues and your metabolism slows down, that's a little more appropriate. It's a better routine for you to lose weight. And again, my first 3 meals all have carbs in them, and then my last 2 meals of the day after 4 o'clock are low carb or no carb meals. So between the 5 meals I had throughout the day, 3 of them have carbs. The last 2 are low carb and no carb options. And so, but again, just a little quick note is like I do have a little bit of chocolate at night too. So I mean, just a little bit. So there are carbs in that, but I'm just saying I'm still being good about it. I'm still being responsible. But because I've had the majority of my food throughout the day, I'm not that hungry and I'm not starving myself. And when you eat more, it's actually a lot easier to like treat yourself to a small dessert or a small snack instead of like eating the whole sleeve of Oreos or whatever. So like eating more is going to take care of your temptations and cravings, and then you can have a little small snack if you want to of chocolate or whatever, which I get into in the cheat meals later on. But the next thing, eating imbalanced meals, and this is going to be important, and this is very, very, very common what a lot of people are doing. So eating imbalanced meals. So just really quickly. So here's the problem with the way people eat and eating imbalanced meals. So one of the key secrets to losing weight is always having more protein than carbs in every meal. So there's nothing wrong with having a piece of bread. There's nothing wrong with having spaghetti. There's nothing wrong with having a donut, okay, or whatever. But here's the thing. When someone buys a dozen donuts, they bring a dozen donuts to work, or they bring it home from church and they bring it home, and then whatever the situation. Everyone buys a dozen donuts. They don't just buy one. So, but the problem is when people buy donuts, and this is, just one scenario, is like you don't just eat one, you eat 3 or 4 or even 5, all in one time. So like if a donut has 20 carbs in it, we'll just say there's 20 carbs, 10 grams of fat, and then there's usually 2 grams of protein, okay? And this is a donut. So if you're eating 5, even if it's just 4 donuts, let's just say. Okay, we'll say it's 3. Let's say you're a good person. All right, so if you only have 3 donuts, you're eating 60 carbs, 30 grams of fat, and then the protein is like next to nothing, 6 grams of protein, okay? So like, that is completely imbalanced. So we got 6 grams of protein, 60 carbs, 30 grams of fat. So completely imbalanced meal. But what if, for instance, you had only 1 donut, okay? You can have 1 donut, but then you had 8 ounces of egg whites, okay? So if we had a donut and some egg whites, so if we add this into the equation, if you have 8 ounces of egg whites, that's 25 grams of protein, but there's 0 carbs and there's 0 fats. The donut, again, has 2 proteins, 20 carbs, 10 grams of fat. So you could literally have 1 donut for breakfast with 8 ounces of egg whites and have 27 grams of protein, 20 carbs, and 10 grams of fat. And this is a balanced meal, for a lack of a better term. So are there better carb sources? Sure. Would a doctor tell you to eat donuts every day? No. Should I be telling you to eat donuts every day? Not really. But I'm just saying that I have had donuts and I've lost weight. I've eaten 6 brownies in a week and lost 2 pounds still. Just knowing the equations of everything of what you're doing. And so like, this is why you can still have donuts like throughout the day and lose weight. So, okay, we're getting a little bad. Okay, so on my diet plan, for instance, I have 150 grams of protein, I have 75 carbs and 50 grams of fat every day. I could literally have 3 donuts every day and still only have 60 carbs, and that's less than the amount of carbs I'm allowed to have that day. So like I can literally have 3 donuts in one day and only have 60 carbs and still have 15 more carbs left to eat, and that's half a chocolate bar. So I could literally have 3 donuts, half a chocolate bar, and still lose weight only if I'm still eating 150 grams of protein. So, and not only that, with the donut being 10 grams of fat, if I had 3 of those at 30 grams of fat, that means I still have 20 grams of fat left to eat. So like what a lot of people do though, they eat 3 donuts or 4 donuts or 5 donuts at one time, but then they don't consider the protein. They don't consider the fats. And so like this is what we mean by improper meals. So like, but what if it wasn't a donut? Okay, what if you wanted tacos? All right, so let me show you this really fast. So a taco, like a tortilla shell, right? A tortilla shell, a taco shell is going to be 20 carbs in it also. There's maybe 2 grams, same deal. So maybe 2 grams of protein, maybe 1 gram of fat or whatever. But on your diet plan, for instance, so if you want to weigh, I'll use my example again, 150 grams of protein, 75 carbs, 50 grams of fat. And so I explain all this to you later on how to create your own ideal plan. But I want to show you what it means to eat and balanced meals. So like you can have tacos, literally have 3 tacos all day long and have 60 carbs, 6 grams of fat, 6 grams of protein, 3 grams of fat. But then like you have just a little bit of meat. You have like, you might, between 3 tacos, you might have like 4 ounces of meat or whatever, which will be roughly 20 grams of protein. And then like, let's just say there's no carbs in meat and then whatever. We'll just say you have, let's say you're actually being good and it's out of chicken breast, even though I do promote having high fat meats. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, we'll just say there's 5 grams of fat in that. So between 3 tacos, you might get, right here, you got 20 grams of protein, and then you're gonna have 6 grams of protein with the taco shell. So it's 26 grams of protein, but you took 60 carbs in, and then you got 8 grams of fat. So this is completely imbalanced once again. So even though it seems healthy, there's like lettuce, tomatoes, or whatever on your tacos, right? Or even if it's a corn tortilla or a flour tortilla, once again, you're getting 26 grams of protein, 60 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fat. So again, not enough protein, high carb, and then it's even less fat. Completely imbalanced when it should have been higher protein, medium carbs, and still medium fats. So the way you do this is you have to balance this out by eating more protein and however that happens. So again, when it comes to eating a taco or whatever, if you're at a Mexican restaurant, you can have the fajitas, which comes with a lot more protein, a lot more shrimp, a lot more steak. There's also chicken, and then it comes with 3 tortillas on the side. But what you could do is like know that 1 tortilla is 20 carbs, but then between the whole plate of meat, there's probably like a pound of meat between the shrimp, steak, and chicken. That's gonna be roughly 80 grams of protein. So instead of getting tacos, you can get fajitas instead, and you just have 1 tortilla with your meal and then eat as much protein as you want. And that's gonna be a little more structured way to lose weight and know that you're not going to gain weight every time you go out. So these are some tips I'm going to talk about in my restaurant videos when I teach you how to lose weight while still eating weight. While still losing weight, you can eat whatever you want. I'll do one more. How about that? So let's just do spaghetti night. So we got spaghetti night where people get a plate of spaghetti. Everyone has a spaghetti night where you it's cheap and it's easy. Everyone loves pasta. And then you get yourself a plate of spaghetti, and then no one ever eats just a small serving. Everyone gets a whole plate, okay? So this is what happens. It's like, but one serving of spaghetti is like basically one spoonful, like 1/4 of a plate. And so when you look at the box of a spaghetti, on the spaghetti box, the nutrition label tells you very specifically that one serving is 40 carbs. So every time you have a plate of spaghetti, there's 40 carbs in every corner of that plate. So in one plate of spaghetti, you're going to get 160 carbs. All right, but then you might say, oh, but there's meat in it, right? So you get a pound of beef. 1 pound of beef is going to be roughly 20 grams of protein per serving. So you're going to get 80 grams of protein, 0 carbs, and then there's going to be, even if you're getting the lean meat, which you don't have to do, but let's just say there's going to be 40 grams of fat in the whole thing. And you divide that entire thing by 1/4, right? So let's say you put your 1 pound of beef into your sauce, because you're going to split it up between you and someone else or whatever, right? So let's just say you do get 1/4 of the sauce, and your girlfriend or partner or friend or whatever gets another one, then you have 2 kids or whatever. But anyways, you get 1/4 of this. So basically, between the whole pound of beef, you get 1/4 of it, which is 20 grams of protein, and then another 10 grams of fat. All right? So this is your plate of spaghetti. So then you get 20 grams of protein, 160 carbs, and then now you're getting 10 grams of fat. So this is horrendous. So you get your proteins, your carbs are way up here, and then again, your fat is way down here. So this is a horrible situation to be in as far as eating goes. So one plate of spaghetti is going to have 160 carbs. So what if you really love pasta? What if you really love Italian food or whatever else? So here's a better scenario. So instead of having spaghetti night, you could have chicken parmesan instead, where if you have your chicken here, a side of pasta here, and then maybe a little bit of vegetables, all right? So between this one chicken right here, you're gonna have 30 grams of protein, plus your cheese is another 10 grams of protein. Then you got your 40 grams of carbs right here, and then you have 10 grams of fat from your vegetables being cooked in butter or oil or whatever. So right here, what you have is, instead of having 160 carbs and only having next to nothing for protein, now you have 40 grams of protein from your chicken with the cheese. Then you got your 40 carbs, and now you got your 10 grams of fat. So you can literally have chicken parmesan and lose weight instead of having a whole plate of spaghetti. Not to mention on spaghetti night, no one ever has just one serving, or at least I never did. So I'm just saying, like, this would be a better option to lose weight with. And so this all comes down to eating balanced meals. So always eating more protein, or at least close to equal with your carbs. And this is what a lot of people are doing wrong. And the last thing I'll talk about, and one more scenario, is like going back to eating more. It's like back when I was 200 plus pounds, for breakfast, I would have 2 granola bars. All right? 2 granola bars and a coffee. And if you go get Nature Valley granola bars that come with 2 in a pack, the honey and oats version or whatever, there's 29 carbs in one package, but there's like next to nothing for protein, and then a few grams of fat or whatever. But if I were to have 2 packages of that, because it's easy to grab, just in what seems to be really harmless, like Nature Valley, it seems it's from nature and it seems healthy, I'm literally having way more, 58 carbs, 4 grams of protein, and then another 3 grams of fat, another imbalanced meal. And this is what a lot of people are doing, is just like eating improperly. It's like, it's easy to get carbs into your meal plans. It's easy to grab, but like the protein is where the more substance is. There's more protein in, eating meat. You can eat a lot of meat and only get 30 grams of protein, but you can eat just a handful or a spoonful of pasta or even a granola bar and get just as much. So I mean, in order to get like more protein into your system, you literally have to eat 3 more times protein than carbs. So when it comes to like weight wise, I should say, because like a granola bar weighs like 1/10 of a pound or whatever, but you have to eat 5 ounces of protein to get 20, you have to eat like 5 ounces of chicken or 5 ounces of steak to get 25 grams of protein, but you can get 25 carbs in like 1 granola bar. So it's a lot more work to get more protein in, but it's really easy to get carbs in. So eating imbalanced meals is another, like a huge reason why a lot of people are gaining weight, not losing weight, and just because they're not aware of what they're doing just yet. So like, again, back when I was 213 pounds, I was eating granola bars thinking it was healthy, but instead it's 60 carbs all in one sitting. So, but I just want to kind of cover some mistakes that a lot of people are doing when it comes to losing weight, why they're not losing weight, why they're gaining weight. And it's all because they're doing little things that they think, are innocent, like pasta that's wheat that comes from the ground, that must be healthy, or granola bars, that must be healthy. It says nature on it, Nature Valley or whatever. But, these little things that people don't know is what's keeping people from losing weight. It's like these things that you're not taught are what's causing you to gain weight. So, but anyways, these are just some mistakes that we're doing that are making you gain weight, keeping you from losing weight. It's all about not eating enough, eating at the wrong times of the day, and also eating imbalanced meals. So I covered a lot in this video, but I just want to kind of cover some mistakes that we're all doing. So in the next following videos, I'm going to show you how we can correct all of our mistakes, start eating more food throughout the day, like literally eating twice as much, eating bigger lunches, and like how we can structure proper meals to where you're literally eating more food and losing weight. And again, you're gonna be losing weight every day, month after month, until you get down to your ideal weight using this structure. But I just want to cover some mistakes that we're all doing that's keeping us from losing weight and actually making us gain weight. So once you correct some of these things, you're gonna start losing weight, and I'm gonna cover some of these tips in my lifestyle tips, which I'm going to show you even a lot more than what we covered here. But these are just the common mistakes that I see between even myself and my clients. And I'm telling you this right now, so this way we can correct this. And I'm going to show you how we can have a lot more fun by eating more throughout the day and losing weight. So I'm going to see you in the next videos and help you create your ideal diet plan.